I would be inclined to give it a longer date, based upon the fact that we have discovery with 4 cases here, and then I don't know what the implications would be with the discovery that you'd receive in the Eastern District or in the Northern District as far as this case is concerned. So I think that, in order to make sure that, you have adequate time to sort of look at that, I would be willing to give it a longer date.
Of late, it's no longer a surprise to hear that R. Kelly charges have been dropped, considering it's only a part of the expected process towards his ultimate release, and the fact that it has happened before in Chicago approximately 3 months back, when Kim Foxx announced that the government was dropping the Chicago state charges. It's just not a shocker anymore. The only factor that differs between the two scenarios is the reason given for the sudden change of mind. In Chicago, for example, Kim Foxx made mention of saving government funds to be used in prosecuting other cases, and now in Minnesota, the state attorney wants us to believe it's because R. Kelly is already serving a long indirect life sentence of 31 years and will likely spend the rest of his life on the inside. They want us to believe that the only reason they are not pursuing these charges is because the 2 convictions he already received in Brooklyn and in Chicago are enough punishment for him. In other words, they think we are shallow minds to think they feel the 31 years are enough for Robert, contrary to the life sentence they had envisaged at the beginning of the New York trial. In Minnesota was this one accuser known by the name Prada Fitting, who accused R. Kelly for soliciting her with an amount equivalent to $200 to dance naked for him, after which she claims the two crossed the dancing boundaries and got even more intimate. But while this accuser claims all this happened when she was underage, it turns out she was actually above 16, and considering the age of consent in Minnesota is 16, she has no case under state law and was bound to lose the state case after all. Even if the charges had not been dropped prematurely, there is just no way a person should even be placing charges against a man knowing she was 16 years of age in Minnesota, considering these are state and not federal charges, as was the case in New York and in Chicago. According to the state laws of Minnesota, if a woman in Minnesota at the age of 16 and above decided she wants to become a nude dancer for $200 an hour, it's completely up to her and considered her choice. Even if she decided to offer much more than just a dance, being 16 or 17 places her right above the age of consent after all. And this is likely how all the other women managed to trick R. Kelly into situations they would eventually use against him. A woman will come to you and say they want to be with you, citing the state laws as safe for the both of you, and later she will use the federal laws when dealing with you. It's total betrayal in action. Meanwhile, we are aware most of these women first tried blackmail, and when this failed, they resorted to litigation. All they want is money from the big-time celebrity, and they will do anything to get it.
On top of that, when I was 17, my parents were actually making me, trying to get me to take photos with him, take sexual videos with him, all kinds of stuff.
Wait. Your parents encouraged you to do sexual videos with R. Kelly?
Yes. And they said because if they ever have to blackmail him, what they're trying to do now, they can use it against him, which is exactly what they're doing.
First they will use their bodies, and if this fails, they resort to blackmail and legal approaches. It's a real shame. And to learn that their parents too shared in their agenda makes it a total shame on everybody involved. If a grown woman decides for $200 she will dance naked, why should the court even be involved in such a matter? Learning that the accuser was above 16 years old made everyone wonder whether she even received any legal advice before taking the matter to state court. But again, we learned that it was attorney Gloria Allred behind this again, the disgruntled woman we have time and again seen walk around with multiple alleged victims, organizing and attending press conferences with them, and watching them closely as they speak to remind them of what the agreed script should be. Gloria Allred seems to be out there hunting for people to represent and likely motivated by money. These women are after hundreds of thousands of dollars in restitutions, and as their attorney, she is likely entitled to a percentage. However, she ought to know that bringing non-substantial cases on board will not help her career in any way. Whoever has been following the cases against R. Kelly from the beginning can easily notice that the real reason the Minnesota charges have been dropped is to avoid the growing chain of legal errors that will only further discredit the accusers, making the work of the prosecution a lot harder than it already is. The recent developments in the federal cases that have seen accusers rise against each other and their secret dealings exposed have worried the prosecution a great deal. The government has therefore realized they can no longer make any secret arrangements with these self-seeking accusers without risking the reputations of their departments in case they started talking. In New York, the prosecutors thought they had finalized everything until Tasha K started talking when she found herself under pressure by the FBI, who demanded to know about her dealings with the Bureau of Prisons. And later came the infamous rift between accuser families, which saw the Savages rivaling the Clarys, and in the process spilling all the information the government had managed to cover up. Instead of entering into similar arrangements with yet another accuser from Minnesota and further risking their reputation, they would rather abandon the case and ask the accuser to go to hell. According to Nina, I think the government has realized it will be difficult in a scenario where they have completely no real case against R. Kelly to again come up and suggest a superseding indictment and again force more RICO and Mann Act charges onto his charge sheet. After all, that's all the charges they seem to be sure they can manipulate and wrongfully convict someone with. Otherwise, the Minnesota charges which suggest R. Kelly was involved in a form of child prostitution simply don't apply, considering the woman was past the age of consent in accordance with the Minnesota laws. They just can't continue to lie on R. Kelly, and this they know very well. They have therefore preferred to abandon the non-substantial charges and move on. As they say, when the witch hunt fails, the rest of the people who have been used only become collateral damage. Accuser Prada Fitting should therefore go home and take a rest, knowing well the government is not interested in her case anymore since the witch hunt is over. Robin McQueen says, I hope and pray that R. Kelly is finally getting his freedom back, which he deserves. L will be glad for his children so he can rebuild his relationships with them that his ex-wife tried to destroy. L hope R. Kelly has learned his lesson when it comes to trusting people who he thought were on his side. Now he knows what those fake people who were around him wanted. They were just after his fame and fortune, and the lifestyle that he was living. It was all about extortion and getting money from R. Kelly. What makes me even more sad are these artists that performed with him, or that he helped achieve in their music career dreams, writing songs for them that eventually became hits. For them to turn against R. Kelly like that is very hurtful. This should open his eyes to how they really feel about him as a human being, as a man, along with being an artist and along with being the king of R&B. May God bless him and his legal team headed by Jennifer Bonjean. Come home soon, R. Kelly. Thank you for watching today's video, a production of LFN Media, giving you another perspective of issues at hand. We make it our business to keep you updated with the truth amidst the cloud of lies the media wants you to believe. It is therefore important to subscribe to this channel, hit the bell icon and allow all notifications so that you don't miss out whenever we publish a new video.